Hello, and welcome to Episode 9, Thursday's reading of the Book of Concord with the Literary Lutheran. Today we will go through the First Commandment and finish tomorrow with the First Commandment. Let us begin. Part 1, the First Commandment. Note, Luther spends more time on the First Commandment than on any other portion of the Catechism, explaining how essential it is to know, trust, and believe in the true God and to let nothing take his place. He was convinced that where this commandment was being kept, all other commandments would follow. A right relationship with God produces right relationships with fellow human beings. First commandment, you shall have no other gods. What this means, you shall have me alone as your God. What is the meaning of this, and how is it to be understood? What does it mean to have a God, or what is God? Answer. A God means that from which we are to expect all good and in which we are to take refuge in all distress. So to have a God is nothing other than trusting and believing him with the heart. I have often said that the confidence and faith of the heart alone make both God and an idol. If your faith and trust is right, then your God is also true. On the other hand, if your trust is false and wrong, then you do not have the true God. For these two belong together, faith and God. Hebrews chapter 11, verse 6. Now I say that whatever you set your heart on and put your trust in is truly your God. The purpose of this commandment is to require true faith and trust of the heart, which settles upon the only true God and clings to him alone. It is like saying, see to it that you let me alone be your God, and never seek another. In other words, whatever you lack of good things, expect it from me. Look to me for it, and whenever you suffer misfortune and distress, crawl and cling to me. Yes, I will give you enough and help you out of every need. Only do not let your heart cleave to or rest on any other. This point I must unfold more clearly. It may be understood and seen through ordinary counterexamples. Many a person thinks that he has God and everything in abundance when he has money and possessions. He trusts in them and boasts about them with such firmness and assurance as to care for no one. Such a person has a God by the name of Mammon, i.e. money and possessions, Matthew chapter 6, verse 24. On which he sets all his heart. This is the most common idol on earth. He who has money and possessions feels secure, Luke chapter 12, verses 16 to 21, and is joyful and undismayed as though he were sitting in the midst of paradise. On the other hand, he who has no money doubts and is despondent, as though he knew of no God. For very few people can be found who are of good cheer and who neither mourn nor complain if they lack mammon. This care and desire for money sticks and clings to our nature, right up to the grave. So too, whoever trusts and boasts that he has great skill, prudence, power, favor, friendship, and honor also has a God. But it is not the true and only God. This truth reappears when you notice how arrogant, secure, and proud people are because of such possessions, and how despondent they are when the possessions no longer exist or are withdrawn. Therefore, I repeat that the chief explanation of this point is that to have a God is to have something in which the heart entirely trusts. Besides, consider our blindness, which we have been practicing and doing under the papacy up until now. If anyone had a toothache, he fasted and honored Saint Apollonia. If he was afraid of fire, he chose Saint Lawrence as his helper. If he dreaded bubonic plague, he made a vow to Saint Sebastian or Rocchio. There were a countless number of such abominations, where everyone chose his own saint, worshipped him, and called to him for help in distress. Here belong such people as sorcerers and magicians, whose idolatry is most great. Deuteronomy chapter 18, verses 9 to 12. They make a deal with the devil in order that he may give them plenty of money or help them in love affairs, preserve their cattle, restore to them lost possessions, and so forth. For all such people place their heart and trust elsewhere than in the true God. They look to him for nothing good, nor do they seek good from him. So you can easily understand what and how much this commandment requires. A person's entire heart and all his confidence must be placed in God alone and in no one else. For to have God, you can easily see, is not to take hold of him with our hands, or to put him in a bag like money, or to lock him in a chest like silver vessels. Instead, to have him means that the heart takes hold of him and clings to him. To cling to him with the heart is nothing else than to trust in him entirely. For this reason, God wishes to turn us away from everything else that exists outside of him and to draw us to himself. John chapter 6, verse 44. For he is the only eternal good. Matthew chapter 19, verse 17. It is as though he would say, whatever you have previously sought from saints, or for whatever things you have trusted in money or anything else, expect it all from me. Think of me as the one who will help you and pour out upon you richly all good things. Thank you for watching this episode of the Literary Lutheran Reads the Book of Concord. I hope you will tune in again tomorrow when we finish with Friday's reading. Thank you and God bless.